In this video, let us talk about server types in SQL Server. We have already discussed four server types. The first one is database engine, and the second one is SSAS, SQL Server Analysis Services. Next one is SQL Server Reporting Services and SQL Server Integration Services. Now let us discuss each of these things in detail. The first one goes here is database engine. So database engine is core for SQL Server. When we are saying it is core, that means without database engine there is no SQL Server at all. Now why do we need this database engine? We need this database engine for storing the data, processing the data, and for security. Now when I'm talking about storing, what kind of data it stores? It stores in the form of tables, right? Now tables here comprising of rows and columns. Now when I talk about processing the data, here we use some commands to process our data from the table. For that we use insert command, update, delete, select, and so on. And when we are having this data in the form of tables and we are just processing this information with the help of these commands, we also need a security for this data, right? So this security is to secure our data to our data, right? Now this is about a database engine. So we can just simply say that without database engine there is no SQL server at all. That is why we are calling it as core. Now let us go and see the other server, which is called as SSAS. Now SSAS is called as SQL Server Analysis Services. Simply we can just write it as analysis services. Now here we are using MSBI for this. We are using MSBI. What is MSBI? MSBI is a Microsoft Business Intelligence tool. Why do we use MSBI here? MSBI here we use in a platform called data warehousing, right? Use it in a platform called data warehousing. So here also this will help us to store the data, but here this will also help us to store the data, but here the data is in 2D format. Here the data is in 2D format. So now this 2D format we can just convert with the help of analysis services into 3D format. So we can here process this data in 3D format and we can analyze all the information from our database engine, right? So initially we have so much data in our database engine that data is actually in 2D format. Now we are just processing this data into 3D format so that we can analyze what actually there in the table format of 2D data, right? So after converting it into 3D, we are trying to make the visualizations here, and we are trying to see the information in different ways. So this is about SQL Server Analysis Services. Now let us also go further and see the third one, which is called as reporting services. Simply I can say SSRS. So why do we need a report here? See, all our information is stored in the form of data, right? So here report is nothing but a document, right? Here report is nothing but a document, and document consists of some tables with some information in it, and we are trying to store this information, Suppose we have an SQL server here. Let us say we have an SQL server here. Okay, this is our SQL server. Now here I have a database inside our SQL server. This is my database, I can say. So inside this database, I have an information like this. I have an information of employee. I have an information of employee. Here I have some rows and columns. Okay, rows and columns. I'll just divide it: employee name, employee ID, and salary. So this is the information I have. Now this is our table. Now I can say simply here, I'll just draw three different rows here. Okay, now here I have employee name 101, 102, and 103. For employee number 101, we have an ID called EA. Similarly for to B and C. Let's say the salary is 25,000, 30,000, and then 18,000. So we have this table in our database like this. Now here we need to export this table by using SSRS. By using SQL Server Reporting Services, we can export this table into a document. A document here can be a document here can be an MS Word, document. So whatever the information here we have, we can just print it out in our MS Word document here. So in this MS Word, again we are going to display this complete table, right? This complete table I'm going to replicate in MS Word here. So here MS Word is simply called as document, and this document we are storing it in our database in the form of document, right? This is about a reporting services. So here it need not to be an MS Word, it can be any kind of a sheet. Maybe it can be also an Excel sheet. All right. This is about a reporting services. Now let us go to the final one, which is called as integration services. The final one is called as integration services. right? In integration services also we use MSBI tool here. Okay, we use MSBI, Microsoft Business Intelligence tool, right? Now here again we are trying to convert, here we are trying to convert database tables, convert convert database tables to another database, understandable format. So what we are doing here, we are using MSBI tool and we are trying to convert our database tables which are there in, suppose, MS SQL server. We are trying to convert these data tables into another, let us say, Oracle database, and in an understandable format. So let us see that in a pictorial form here. Suppose if I have a server here, let us say if I have an SQL server here. Okay, this is my SQL server. Okay, and in this SQL server I have a database with with table let me just say this is our table. Okay, now we also have another server here which is called Oracle. So here what we are trying to do is we are trying to convert this database table to converting this data table by using SSIS, SQL Server Integration Services. I'm trying to convert, okay, to another table in the Oracle database in an understandable format, right? In an understandable format. For that's the reason we are going to use this integration services. So this is about integration services. So if we conclude our discussion finally, we have learned four database, four server data types, four server types. One is a database engine and SQL Server analysis services, and then SQL service reporting services, SQL service integration services. So here the database engine is very much to the core. It is very important. Simply we can say without database engine there is no SQL server at all. All right. Now after that we are trying to use this SSAS, which is a Microsoft Business Intelligence tool, to in the platform called data warehousing. Here we are trying to convert our 2D data into 3D data, and for analysis purpose for business. And then we are going to use reporting services here. Basically we are trying to extract the document here in terms of MS Word or Excel, and we are trying to just see the information what is there in the SQL server, and we can deliver this information to our organization. And finally we have talked about the integration services here will help us to interact with uh, other database structure, so that we can convert all our data forms into understandable formats, right? All right, about this is about different types of server, SQL servers. I'll see you with the next video in our next video. Thank you for watching.